I sat frozen as my doctor told me the truth, the cold, hard truth. I was not okay. Heart issues, mobility issues, medications for management, in extreme cases, amputation. I was clinically obese. What? How had this happened to me? I stared down at my feet, which were not as fat and elephant-like as when I was pregnant. I could see some bones. I could feel my breast resting on my stomach, and I tried to sit up straight, but they remained stubbornly connected. I had been pregnant or nursing for 4.5 years straight. That's more than 1,600 days of having given my body over to growing new people. And over the course of those days, like the misplaced pacifier you find years later behind the china cabinet, I had lost myself. And now here I was, covered in dust and dirt and kid snot, and looking my lost self right in the eye. Exasperated, I told my doctor that I didn't know where to start, and he told me to change my diet and exercise. Ouch. I saw those moms who darted across the preschool parking lot in their tight spandex on their way to the gym. No, thank you very much. I wasn't going to use the few precious moments of freedom that I had with just one boy in tow by going to the gym with a bunch of, milfs. Gross. That was so not me. I needed to get errands run and chores done and spend some quality time with this second child who never seemed to get the same deal the first one had. I sighed, went home, parented until bedtime, and sobbed. About a week later, a letter from my doctor revealed that I had a genetic mutation, making me 4 times more likely than my friends to have a stroke. The only risk factor I could control was my weight. After watching my active grandfather spend 7 years in a wheelchair and able only to say the letter G, I was terrified. And so, with no choice, I stopped rationalizing why my health was not as high a priority as the needs of my children, my spouse, my home, my family, and my friends. Looking back now, I can see I did motherhood all wrong, and it could have cost me my life. In those 4.5 years, I gave motherhood 100%. I left my career for quality time with a colicky baby. I took sign language classes, spent hours at library story times, breastfed each child well beyond a year, and focused myself on their development. The problem with this system, for me, was that it left no time for me or my development. My whole existence revolved around my role as mother. And as someone who really thrives on positive reinforcement, tantrums just didn't give me that feeling of success. I did what I thought was best for my children, and I simply didn't consider the effect on me at all. I started my change with exercise because, we all know, it's a lot easier to exercise once a day than to eat right all day long. It wasn't easy, though. If you've never been clinically obese and walked into a fitness class, then it is hard to describe the kind of courage and fortitude it takes to turn 180 degrees and literally move your titanic self towards health. You are out of place in the most obvious way. It feels like that dream where you suddenly realize that you are naked and everyone else is dressed, only it's happening. And instead of being actually naked, you're dressed in some ratty old sweats that kind of sort of fit and cover each one of your belly rolls and hopefully most of your derriere. You feel judged by all the fit people who barely make eye contact with you or give you that pity smile. It is enough to make you cringe, and everything inside you is screaming to flee. And yet, you tell yourself no. There is no choice. Health is your only option, and you simply must endure. And so I went and went and went and went and went. And after 10 months, yes, 10 months of gritting it out until I finally didn't hate it and didn't have to force myself to go, I actually began to enjoy the hour without the kids pushing my every button. And later, when my legs screamed as I lowered myself to the library floor for story hour, it was my reminder that I had existed that day, that I had done something for myself. I began making meals for myself, and not just my children. Apparently, I was not meant to survive on the crusts of the boys' sandwiches. Now, mind you, I had always supplemented my scrappy meals later that day or night, of course, because I was hungry and tired and deserved a treat after taking care of 2 kids all day. The truth is, though, what I truly deserved was a plate and a place at the table, even if it was right next to the high chair. As my weight came down and I could do more, I found little non-scale victories, did wonders to make me feel successful in spite of my children's tantrums. I'll always remember the day I carried both my boys down a steep driveway to the car, and my knees didn't hurt or give out. My life was getting easier to live. Then, strikingly, I started realizing that those fit people who I thought were judging me began to see me as one of them. It wasn't because I was a normal weight. I wasn't. No, it wasn't about my weight at all. I had become part of a community just because I showed up and made my health and myself a priority.